You did everything right. You believed in the promise. The one that says if you work hard, if you contribute to society, if you play by the rules, you will be rewarded. You woke up early for 40 years, you packed a lunch, you put in the overtime, you came home tired. You gave up vacations, you drove older cars, you carefully managed a budget, all to put a little bit aside from every single paycheck. You were building a nest egg. It wasn't a Wall Street fortune, but it was yours, earned through calloused hands and quiet sacrifice. It was the money for a dignified retirement. The money to help your children get a start in life. It was your family's safety net, the one thing that would protect you if you ever got truly sick. But what if I told you that entire promise was a lie? What if I told you that the very system designed to help you in your most vulnerable moments, the system your tax dollars paid for, views your life savings not as a shield but as an obstacle? There are hidden rules buried deep in pages of bureaucratic code that can force you to systematically liquidate every penny you've ever saved, effectively punishing you for a lifetime of responsibility. This is the shocking, heartbreaking truth about Medicaid and the financial landmines that can disqualify you from care without any warning, forcing you to destroy your own financial security just to survive. The first and most devastating landmine in this field is a number. A number so small, it feels like a cruel joke: $2,000. Most people are led to believe that qualifying for Medicaid is primarily about your monthly income. They think that as long as their Social Security or pension check is below the official limit, they'll be fine. That is a dangerously incomplete picture. The real, brutal gatekeeper for long-term care is your assets. In a vast number of states, to be eligible for Medicaid to cover nursing home or extensive in-home care, a single individual can have no more than $2,000 in what are called countable assets. $2,000, let that sink in. That's less than the cost of a major car repair. It's less than a few months of groceries. It's a rounding error in the face of the astronomical cost of long-term care. This isn't just a rule, it's a tripwire. Everything you own, every account you have, every financial decision you've ever made is now viewed through the harsh lens of this impossibly small number. It's the trigger that activates every other trap in the system. So, what about the biggest asset of all, the one that represents the American dream itself, your home? It's the center of your family, the place where you raised your children, the four walls that hold a lifetime of memories. The system offers a fragile reassurance: your primary residence is usually exempt. But that usually is doing a lot of heavy lifting, and it comes with terrifying strings attached. First, this exemption applies to one, and only one, home. That small lakeside cabin you and your spouse saved up for, dreaming of quiet weekends with the grandkids. It is now a countable asset. That plot of empty land you inherited from your parents, hoping to one day pass it down, a countable asset. The small duplex you bought decades ago, hoping the rental income would be a pillar of your retirement, it is a countable asset. And countable is just a sterile, bureaucratic word for must be sold. Medicaid can, and often will, require you to liquidate these properties and use every last cent of the proceeds to pay for your own care before they will contribute a single dollar. But the most terrifying detail about your primary home is one they don't advertise. It's a policy called Medicaid Estate Recovery. Even if you qualify for Medicaid and get to keep your home while you are alive, the game isn't over. After you pass away, the state can come back as a creditor and place a lien on your house to recoup the money they spent on your care. That home you fought so hard to protect, the one you explicitly wanted to leave to your children, could be forcibly sold by the state to pay back your medical bills. The dream of passing on a generational asset is extinguished, replaced by a final bill from the government. The system's intrusive search for your assets doesn't stop at your front door. It extends to the financial tools you bought specifically to protect your family's future. Let's talk about life insurance. For generations, financial advisors pushed whole life and universal life policies not just as a death benefit, but as a form of disciplined, long-term savings. These policies were sold as a responsible way to build a cash value over time. But here's the cruel twist, that responsible saving has now become a liability. If the cash value in your policy grows beyond a very small limit in some states, as low as $1,500, Medicaid considers it a countable asset. You are then backed into an impossible corner. You can either let the policy lapse, losing everything you paid into it, or you can surrender it for its cash value. If you surrender it, the result is devastating. You immediately lose the death benefit you intended for your surviving spouse or children, the very reason you bought the policy in the first place. On top of that, the cash you receive is often treated as income, which could disqualify you from benefits anyway and even trigger an unexpected tax bill. A product sold for peace of mind has become a source of profound anxiety. From there, the hunt for your assets becomes even more personal, invading every corner of your life. It's no longer just about what's in the bank. It's about what's in your garage, your safe deposit box, and your attic. The rules generally permit you to own one vehicle, but that's it. That reliable second car, the one your spouse uses or you keep for emergencies, that's a countable asset. The RV you bought, dreaming of seeing the country in retirement, countable. The old pickup truck sitting under a tarp in the barn, the one that has more sentimental value than actual cash value. If it has a title in your name, it's a countable asset, and it gets worse. Caseworkers can and do scrutinize your personal belongings. That jewelry you inherited from your grandmother, the antique furniture passed down through generations, the collection of rare coins or stamps you so carefully curated over a lifetime, all of it can be appraised. They are no longer treasured heirlooms in the eyes of the system, they are just numbers on a balance sheet. If their estimated value pushes you over that tiny asset limit, you may be told that you must sell your family's history before you can get help. Of all the assets that cause fear and confusion, nothing is more terrifying than the threat to your retirement accounts. You spent your entire career contributing to a 401k or an IRA. You watched it grow, believing that money was sacred, untouchable ground reserved for your golden years. But that's not how the system always sees it. In many states, depending on the specific type of account and whether it is in payout status, those funds can absolutely be deemed countable assets. If Medicaid determines that you can theoretically access the money, even with a penalty, they will count it against you. And even if the account itself is structured to be exempt, you're not safe. But even all of that pales in comparison to the one rule that feels like the ultimate betrayal. A rule so cruel, so profoundly unfair, that it attacks the very idea of family, generosity, and community. It is called the Medicaid 5-year look-back period. Here is how this unforgiving rule works. When you apply for long-term care benefits, the government has the right to demand and scrutinize every single financial transaction and asset transfer you have made for the last 60 months. If they find that you gave away any money or assets for less than their fair market value, in other words, if you made a gift, they will assume you did it for the sole purpose of hiding your assets to cheat the system, and they will penalize you for it. Think about the beautiful, normal, human moments of your life that this rule criminalizes. The $15,000 you gave your daughter to help with the down payment on her first home. The money you joyfully contributed to your grandson's college fund. The check you wrote to help your child pay for their wedding. The generous donation you made to your church's building fund. The old car you gave to your nephew when he graduated from school. In the cold, cynical eyes of Medicaid, these are not acts of love or generosity. They are improper transfers, and the penalty is brutal and calculated. The state will add up the total value of all the gifts you made, divide it by the average monthly cost of nursing home care in your area, and the result is the number of months you are declared ineligible for benefits. So, if you gave away $60,000 over 5 years and the average cost of care is $6,000 a month, you could be denied coverage for 10 months, leaving you and your family to somehow come up with $60,000 out of pocket precisely when you have no resources left. You are being harshly punished for your own kindness, so what are you supposed to do? The terrifying reality is that the system is an intentionally complex legal and financial labyrinth. It's a nearly unwinnable game designed to be so confusing that an entire cottage industry of expensive elder law attorneys and Medicaid planners has emerged, charging desperate families thousands of dollars just to navigate the rules and protect what little they have left. The system creates a brutal, soul-crushing paradox. It forces the most responsible among us, the savers, the planners, the givers, to watch their life's work be systematically dismantled, until they are officially declared destitute, all to qualify for the very care they were trying to save up for in the first place. It is a system that seems to reward those who saved nothing and punish those who did everything right. It leaves us with a deeply unsettling question that strikes at the heart of the American promise. Is a safety net truly a safety net if it requires you to fall to the ground and shatter everything you own before it will deign to catch you? What does it say about our country when we tell our seniors that the price of their health is the forfeiture of their dignity and their entire life as savings? And as you look at your own savings, you have to wonder, are you building a foundation for your future, or are you just setting a trap for yourself?